So a lot of thoughts came up around inclusion. How can we get as many people into the discussion as possible? And you probably agree with me that there is no better place to start the discussion around inclusion than to speak about empowering young girls and women. We will move to the next session that looks at empowering young women and girls through digital skills right away. I know the program says that we should take a break now, but we just had lunch 1 hour ago, so it's best to complete this so we get time to prepare for the cocktail. So we'll have our coffee and our tea after this next session. May I then introduce Ms. Martha Muwezi, Senior Program Coordinator Officer at FAWE, to moderate this session. Please clap for her as she walks up to the stage. Thank you.
And as we think about this session, we have 5 panelists who I would like to invite to come over. And the first one is Diakit. I hope he's around, from Mali. We also have Elgar Dawson from Tanzania, Tanzania. We have Helena Naitue from Namibia. We have Muzikazi. That's the name she wants to be addressed by. We also have Dr. Chao Mboga from Kenya. So we have we have 5 panelists with us this afternoon, and we are going to focus on empowering young women and girls through digital skills. Before they make their presentations, I want us to make some reflection. If we are talking of ICT, ICT goes with education. And if we want everybody to benefit from education and therefore ICT, then it is important that we focus on issues or policies that are going to bring about gender equality. If gender equality is not realized in education, then it goes without say that we shall have one set of gender benefiting while the other is not benefiting. And I just want us to briefly think about today's session from morning. I know there are a number of women in this room, but just tell me how many women have moderated a session? How many? Just tell me of all the sessions, how many men were on the opening session and how many women were on that? Who was the keynote speaker? I know, Shem, you're looking at me. The session that has just ended, how many women were on that session? I guess this is the more balanced session that we are going to have since morning. And that said, since morning we've been talking about the opportunities that do exist, what we need to make reflection of the past, look at what's happening now, and also focus in the future. The team that's coming up next is going to share with us not what they are thinking, not what they would want to be done, but they're going to share with us what they have done in terms of promoting or empowering young women and girls through digital skills. They have had interventions, they have had projects, and these are the projects that are going to share with us. And we shall start off with the first presenter, who is Dagba. I hope I'm pronouncing it correct. Yeah, and he's a project manager with CARE. And what he's going to share with us is about promoting women and girls through digital schools, but focusing on mobile phones and also sharing with us the innovation on girls' leadership and empowerment through innovative education. Dagba, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Good afternoon. As she said, my name is Dagaba Jakite. I'm the project manager of a very innovative initiative called Education for Change. Now, this Education for Change is basically focused on adolescents' access to ICT through the use of mobile phones. Education for Change, as I said, I'm not going to spend time to present myself. I'm the project manager in charge with whatever is dealing with advocacy, sensitization, staff management, and the rest of the things. This Education for Change project, it started on 2015. It will take 5 years to end by 2020. And the main goal is to create an enabling environment for adolescents aged from 10 to 18 years old in school and out of school adolescents. The innovation in the project is that our main focus is the use of mobile phone in school. In Mali, mobile phone is an innovation, particularly in schools, especially when girls are concerned. We are creating interaction between boys, girls in school and out of school, adolescents. And the project is being implemented at rural and urban levels. This is a kind of diversity. But our main focus is promoting girls' rights to education, innovative education through innovation. The project is focused on 3 main groups of adolescents, what we call emergency brigades. Those people are girls and boys in school and out of school who interact together to fight climate change effects through disaster risk reduction. The second group is focused on empowerment, girls' empowerment, implemented through activities we call VSLA, Village Save and Loan Associations. And the third group is what we call girls' friendship circles. All those 3 groups are interconnected to use communication, direct communication through mobile phones, SMS sending, around what we call an M platform. And on that platform, they discuss issues related to very sensitive issues like SRH. SRH, I mean the sexual and reproductive health. They talk about DRR and resilience, gender equity, gender-based violence. All those topics in Mali are very sensitive. And in order to coordinate all of those issues, we have put in place what we call an ethics committee to oversee the implementation of that innovation. And the problem, the project is trying to manage specific issues linked to access access to quality education, access to information, access to opportunities, and the poor quality of education, the poor quality of the curriculum contents, the gender equity issue, and to facilitate the interaction between different types of social groups. I mean girls, boys, women, men, rural people, urban people, and so on. We have a male component whose work is based on monitoring, internal monitoring of girls' agencies to measure also the socio-cultural aspects in the project and to measure the level of change of what we call traditionalists. Those people are completely opposed to the different innovations. And this is measured through monthly monitoring, quarterly internal monitoring, semester supervision, annual and midline and endline evaluations. The lesson learned are, we know that more than 25% of adolescents in Mali have a phone, but it happens to be very difficult to use it in school. There are some school authorities who are completely opposed to the use of mobile phone in school. And the VSLA approach is based on a very small scale saving association. People think that the parents are so poor that they ask the question if their daughters and sons will be able to collect money in order to actively participate in that saving association. Thank you.
Yeah. And I want to say, anybody feel free to use the language that you're more comfortable with, apart from Kiswahili. I'm not saying use Kiswahili. So thank you so much, Dagba. And what we pick from him, technology is the way to go. When you think of how many adolescents are out there, if we were to think of gathering them in a conference or a workshop, the outreach would be more limited. But taking the approach of a mobile phone, given that a large percentage of adolescents have phones, is an innovation. But he also mentions, while it's an innovation, it's not all that smooth. It also has challenges. And I think this is something that they started about 3 years ago, and there is room for improvement. And when he talked about some of the resistance, because people are used to doing things in certain ways, and also on the fact that the adolescents may not be allowed with phones in school, I think those are some of the areas that can be worked on, and I would want to imagine it also has to do with the policies or guidelines in school. As we move on, we are going to the next presenter, who is Edgar Dawson. And Dawson works with the DOT, which is Digital Opportunity Trust, the Tanzania branch. And what he's going to share with us is the innovation in terms of social enterprise that creates a global network of talented, energetic young leaders who make real change through social innovation. We want to listen to Dawson in terms of that innovation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am very happy to be here today to talk to you about our innovation and the program that we've been implementing in Africa, as well as Middle East. I am from Digital Opportunity Trust, as I've been introduced by the facilitator here. And Digital Opportunity Trust is an international NGO that works, as I said, in Africa as well as Middle East to empower young people with tools and resources and networks to create positive changes in their communities using social innovation as well as digitally enabled technologies. I'm happy to be here with the Director of Middle East and North Africa, Marianne. So if you have questions or if you want to learn more about our program, she'll be available also after the session. So this is our model. This is how we work with young women and men and empowering them to become leaders of change in their community. First of all, we work with fresh graduates who have just graduated from university. We know that most of our young people in Africa and also in the Middle East, they are graduating to no jobs, to unemployment. And therefore, this is an opportunity for them to gain skills that are necessary and they are needed in the market. And therefore, we work with them through a training program. Then we place them in their community, whereby they will work. Most important, they will learn about local needs in their communities. What are the local needs? What are some of the challenges? And turning those challenges into opportunities. The other thing that they do is to deliver digital and social entrepreneurship skills to community. So they facilitate by delivering training programs to their communities, either being women or youth or general communities in areas of entrepreneurship and the use of technology. In doing so, they learn about sustainable social innovation. And by the end of the program, or towards the middle of the program, they are able to develop sustainable initiatives for their communities. We tell our young people, create your opportunity. Do not just sit and wait for opportunities to come for you. So the program covers in Africa, as I said, in Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, currently in Ghana, Rwanda, and South Africa, with plans to move to other African countries, especially in North Africa, in Morocco, as well as in West with Senegal. And also in Southern Africa, we are planning to work with Zambia and Malawi. In the Middle East, we work in Jordan and Lebanon. So what is innovative about our program? To be able to include as many young people as possible into our program, we offer an online training program. We currently know that most young people have mobile phones. Most of them have smartphones. And these are students who have graduated from university. They are graduates. Therefore, we empower them through an online program. The online program is self-paced, so they can learn depending on how many hours they have per day. Some of them are involved in entrepreneurship activities, and therefore we don't want to make the program so heavy for them that they cannot have an opportunity to learn. We have 3 pathways for them to choose. So they can either decide to become community leaders, to be digital ambassadors, or social innovators. The program gives them an opportunity to unleash their power through designing solutions. And therefore, we also introduce the concept of social entrepreneurship to them so that they can learn about community challenges and come up with a business model to solve those. Our program is youth-centric. We have a youth-led advisory board that inspires and gives us information of what is needed in terms of supporting young women and men in their communities. And again, it is peer-to-peer, meaning young people are facilitating these programs to other young people. We have an evolving social enterprise business model, the way we operate as an organization, but as well as how we inspire our young people to deliver programs. We also work a lot in bridging gender divide, and therefore more than 50% of our participants are young women. And we do so because there's a ripple effect when young women facilitate programs to other young women in their communities. When rural women see other women facilitating programs, for them is an empowering session. They also being inspired that they are able to deliver programs and to innovate. So this is our model, whereby we have core program in pink, whereby in orange, whereby young women will learn into our leadership program, and therefore they will have 3 pathways to choose, whether they want to become social entrepreneurs, digital ambassadors, or community leaders. And then at the end of the program, we'll teach them how they can grow their impact, how they can scale their impact. So the content that we deliver to them in Africa includes social impact, whereby they learn what social innovation is, what is business startup, scaling their impact, as well as project management. For example, young women who have been involved in our programs, after going through our learning program, they've come up with business solutions, social innovation solutions that empower other young women. We have young people who are female young people who have programs to encourage more female to participate in science, in STEM programs. We also have young women who are facilitating technology classes to other young leaders. We also have a program on digital innovation, as we know that there's a very strong emphasis on the use of technology to scale impact. In MENA, the program is very much focused on social innovation, but also the use of technology. So in the Middle East and North Africa, there's a big focus on basic literacy and numeracy, digital-enabled skills. And at the end of the day, after they've gone through this curriculum, young people are able to create opportunities for themselves and for others through self-employment, but they can also be employed. And some of them are engaging in entrepreneurship. And in Jordan, there's a very innovative program with support from UNICEF called Build Opportunities Today, where young people are learning advanced digital skills, and the board is set in a way that it gets contracts from companies, both private sector, public sector, but also development organization, and these opportunities are given to young people as consultants to go there and do a number of activities such as web design, security, technology security, graphic design, designing of websites, etc. These are some of the partners that we work with. We work with governments, different governments, either being by bilateral or multilateral opportunities. We work with private sector. We work with international business companies. We work with the UN in designing programs, but also ensuring there's an ecosystem approach in terms of skills that we provide, but also partnership for opportunities for young people. Over 5,000 young men and women have been employed into our program and transformed lives of millions of their communities through our youth leadership program. With the government of Rwanda, we have a special program called Digital Ambassadors Program, whereby young people, especially young women, more than 60% young women, who are empowered to become digital ambassadors, and they facilitate digital programs to their communities. The programs that they facilitate include the use of e-governance opportunities through communication using mobile phones, but also the use of mobile money and other services that are available through mobile technologies. The program is now going through the end of proof of concept, and there's a big plan to grow it, not only in Rwanda, but also in other African states which are interested. With Rwanda, for example, up to this stage, about 13,500 communities members have been inspired by young people to learn and use technology. Of them, 53% are women and 47% are male. So, and also in partnership with the UNICEF in Lebanon, over 3,000 youth have been equipped with employable digital skills. as I had mentioned earlier, in areas of social media, in areas of web creation, web participation, as well as ICT, security and graphic design. The relevance of our program is that there's a very big ripple effect. So by empowering one young person, they are able to facilitate this program to 100 or 200 other young people and community members. And as I had mentioned earlier, working with young female, they've come up with business and solutions to support other young ladies to to improve their lives economically. The other thing that we've been doing, we are now moving over and above talking about gender equality only, because we have realized that it takes more than having 50% of women to have an impact in terms of gender. So we have now invested resources and time to really understand what are the barriers that young women are facing, and working with them to co-design programs, but also giving them leadership resources to design solutions for themselves and for other young people. Our overall vision is to really to fight unemployment, and therefore, as I had mentioned earlier, we tell our young people to create their own opportunity. In terms of monitoring and evaluation, we collect data. We have data collection tools that we've been using, and we try to understand our youth before we engage them, when they are already engaged and after they've gone through the program. Most of this work is done by our youth, who are very well trained in terms of understanding what it takes to collect data and research. We have also taken time to do impact study of our work to understand what impact we have had in our community. We have gathered some of the learning, including understanding that participatory training and learning is effective for young people. But also, we have come to understand that creating locally relevant content is key to success. So, for example, the program in Lebanon, they have designed their own curriculum and program that relates to the needs of young people in their context, and therefore made it possible to have a successful program. And lastly, we are very keen in terms of working with different partners in collaboration to make sure that we have big impact, and we also have an ecosystem approach in the way we deliver our program. Some of the impact, we have understand that 80% of our participants, they feel very empowered to identify opportunities within their communities and pursue those. 70% of our social leaders, young leaders, have been able to launch innovative programs to solve community problems, and 70% have increased their power to make decisions that affect their day-to-day lives. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dawson. He was very alert. When I stood up, he concluded. And in this session, usually we say ladies and gentlemen. This time we said gentlemen and ladies. So we finished with the gentlemen, so we are going to listen to the ladies. And what I take from Dawson's presentation, one key issue that he points out is, while we think of supporting the young people, it's also important the young people themselves think in terms of job creation, think in terms of what needs to be done for them. And also the use of mobile, just like the first presenter, it's a cost-effective way of providing training to a large group of people. And when he mentioned about online training, I remember somebody in the morning mentioned of a son asking him why he was traveling all the way to Tunis, and yet you can have some of these programs online. And that's what the innovation that the team is telling us about. And he also emphasizes partnerships. In all that we do, partnerships is key because each and every person has something to offer. And lastly, he mentions about the multiplier effect. You train one person and the skill is extended beyond the one person. Our next presenter is Helena Naitsue. And Helena is a lecturer in the Department of Lifelong Learning and Community Education, Faculty of Education in the University of Namibia. She is a researcher, and while she is going to share with us in terms of innovation, she's also going to share with us what she's thinking of doing, the findings, and what she has come up with. And her interest is also in social media and also promoting digital literacy. She's also going to share with us in terms of ICT for development, knowledge sharing, and creation through the social media network. You're welcome.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Helena Naitsue Amadira. If you just say Helena Naitsue, those are my names, and Amadira is my surname. I'm going to share with you, this is a work in progress, and please, if we are looking for partners so that we can realize our project that we have proposed. That is the outline for my presentation, or the structure. The title of the project is that we are empowering young women and girls through digital skills, and this project is called Mobile Social Media and Digital Literacy Training. In short, Mosome Dirit project. I'm the project leader who will be ensuring that the project is implemented and executed as planned within the allocated time frame and resources. I'll communicate with various stakeholders and also market the project, and I'll ensure continuity and sustainability of the project. The project is based in Karibeb constituency. Karibeb is a constituency in the Erongo region. Erongo region is one of the 14 regions of Namibia, and the capital city is Swakopmund. Why did we choose Karibeb? Most of the projects that have been happening in Namibia have been focused in Windhoek, and we thought Windhoek people have enough, and it's time for us to look at people from outside Windhoek so that they can also be empowered. Swakopmund comprises the magisterial district up to the Ugab River and includes Walvis Bay, Omaruru, and Karibeb magisterial district. Erongo is named after Mount Erongo, a well-known landmark in Namibia and in this area. So for those that have traveled to Namibia, most of the tourists like going to this mountain. All the main centers within this region are connected by paved roads. The governor of Erongo is Honorable Cleopas Mushavikwa. In the west, Erongo has a shoreline on the Atlantic Ocean. On land, it borders the flowing regions, Kunene, north, on the northern side, Ochozodupa in the east, Comas on the southeast, and then Hardap on the south. Just for you to appreciate the Namibian map with all the various regions and also the constituencies in Erongo region where the project is based. Our project is aligned to the theme empowering young women and girls through digital skills. So there's a saying that if you educate a woman, you have educated a nation. So, and that's why we decided to focus our project on educating women. Women and girls will be becoming digital literate through the use of mobile social media to access information, communicate, and also do their everyday business. There will be digital retreat with the knowledge and skills that will be provided to them or that are being provided to them. The relevance of the project in terms of the challenge that is being addressed, the project seeks to address information gap of women and girls in Caribbean, to use mobile social media to access information, communicate, and do everyday business in order to improve their standard of living, and also to cross the digital divide that has been observed. In terms of the international goals and national policies or strategies, our project have an emphasis on the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, specifically looking at Goal 5, which is achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls, specifically enhance the use of enabling technology, in particular information and communication technology, to promote the empowerment of women. For the Africa Agenda 2063 is Aspiration 1, which focuses on the prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development, with particular emphasis on well-educated and skilled citizens. Underpinned by science, technology, and innovation for knowledge society in the norm, and no child misses school due to poverty or any form of discrimination. With this, our project, since is focusing on women, so mothers are normally the first teacher of a child, so it will ensure that girls or children are educated before they enter the formal schooling. It also touched on Aspiration 6, which is an Africa whose development is people-driven, relying on the potential of Africa people, especially it is women and youth, and caring for children. This indicates that by 2063, Africa has empowered women to play their rightful role in all spheres of life and has engaged and empowered youth. When it comes to local level, we have our Harambee Prosperity Plan. The word Harambee is borrowed from Kiswahili, if I'm not mistaken, which means pouring together. So with this, our government wants everybody to pull in the same direction for the benefit of everybody, and nobody should feel left out. So the Namibian Government Action Plan toward Prosperity for All. So under Chapter 4, it says that economic advancement through economic transformation, which aim for economic empowerment, leading to higher inclusion of disadvantaged groups into the formal economy. As I said, the project will be allowing women, young women and girls, to use mobiles to do their businesses or to communicate. So it will ensure that they are also contributing to the formal economy by doing their businesses via mobile. We also have our 5th National Development Plan, which is working together toward prosperity. So in pillar number 2, it says social transformation which cascades to human capital development and social development to produce capable and healthy human resources. We are all aware that if people are not informed or if they don't have access to information, they will not be able to do anything. And then we have our Vision 2030, which is prosperity, harmony, peace, and political stability. Under Chapter 4, it says people's quality of life, education and training to ensure that the society is comprised of people who are literate, skilled, articulate, innovative, informed, and proactive. So with this, our young women and girls will be equipped, will be empowered with the knowledge and skills to make sure that they are able to take part in the digital age or in the knowledge age, and then they are able to function and remain relevant. When it comes to the monitoring and evaluation and learning, so all monitoring data will be shared among implementing partners and with local stakeholders. So there will be progress reports or activities, and then monitoring, evaluation, and learning is feasible, practical, and necessary measures and methods into account to give a fair view of the value of the project implemented. It will be performed as an ongoing management and learning activity supported by periodic external independent reviews, just to make sure that we do not waste resources or time that has been spent in the project. I'm not going to go into the description of the various principles, but we would like our project to be relevant, to be efficient, and also effective, that it will have an impact, it will be sustainable, and will have external utility, not only in Caribbean or Namibia, but it will have a regional impact. So the project, as I said, is work in progress. So we'll be measured the success by, or the impact by looking at the number of girls and women trained on the use of mobile social media to access information, communicate, and do their everyday business. This is basically the people that are engaged in informal businesses, like the small-scale business. A number of women and girls able to transfer the knowledge and skills gained to others. So we don't want women to keep the knowledge to themselves, but we want them to transfer the knowledge to others. And also the number of women and girls in business earning more than what they used to earn. So this is training for impact, and we want them to improve their lives and also have what they didn't have before. And one of the impact will also be, we want to cross the digital divide that has been observed. Okay, the lesson learned is that importance of mobile social media as a tool to access information, communicate, and do business will inform the social media policy and implementation plan, which Namibia is currently developing, and it also informed the national cybersecurity law, and also the Internet Society Namibia chapter, which was recently inaugurated or launched. It will also help the ICANN, the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, to ensure that Namibia is on the map. With that, thank you for being good listeners.
Yeah, thank you, Helena. She has proved that she cannot be intimidated even when you stand next to her. She has to conclude her point. Thank you so much. And like she has mentioned, it's work in progress. It's a project which she is working on. And just like the others, it hinges on mobile social media. And what I take note is in support of women and girls, particularly in conducting their day-to-day business, irrespective of what happens. I know many of us do understand the biological roles that women do play, and this model is intended to support women. Even when you're out of office, even when you're out of your business, you should be able to carry on business without any hindrance. And the next one, we are moving to Muzikazi Ntuli. And she's a grant administrator and program development advisor, Federation Humana People to People. And what she's going to share with us is the use of unconventional teaching methodologies and information communication technologies. We'll listen to her.
Hi, good afternoon. Just to acknowledge and ask that you give me just one moment to pay tribute to a very special woman who we lost at the beginning of April. Nomzamo Winifred Madikizela Mandela. She had a very great passion for youth and a very great passion for women, and I believe that this conference happening at the time that it's happening is really a great tribute to the work and the sacrifices that you made for Africa. Thank you very much. Okay, briefly, my presentation, we're going to focus on what ADPP, which is Ajuda de Desenvolvimento de Povo para Povo, is doing in Mozambique. This is the quick outline of the presentation. I won't go through it. ADPP, in short, is a national organization established in 1982 in Mozambique and operates nationally in all the 11 provinces. It employs 3 million staff and has over 60 projects nationally. And the map that you see there shows the places where the organization operates. We have about 2 million beneficiaries of the projects that we implement. And this project that I'm presenting is a project that is implemented in partnership with the Commonwealth of Learning, a Canadian organization. And it was a project that was developed by a Namibian woman. So I'm very happy to see one of our neighboring compatriots, Namibia. And the name is Girls Inspire because the Francis Ferreira, the Namibian lady who developed this project, believed that women, one woman doing something good can inspire other women. So girls inspiring each other will lead to sustainable development. And the project is implemented not only in Mozambique, but it's also implemented in Bangladesh, in India, in Pakistan, and in Tanzania. Okay, just briefly, the context where the project is implemented. It's a small district in the province of Nampula, and it's called Nakala Port. And the port is a very busy port, one of the deepest ports in Africa, and it has got a lot of movement of tourism, business people, because it's neighboring Malawi, Tanzania, Zambia, and it provides that entry to the landlocked countries of Zambia and Malawi. There's very high prevalence in that area, and very high levels of illiteracy, social deprivations, and women are very vulnerable. So this project is a very important project in that aspect. The project targets women and girls between 10 to 14 years old, and it's a 3-pillar project. It addresses 3 key areas: the community part, the organizational part, which is strengthening the institutions, as well as the girls themselves. The women and girls are trained in different vocations of their own choice, identified through a baseline whereby we identify what are the market needs in that particular area, community. So it's in 7 communities of Nakala, Porto, and the women and girls identify the courses that they are going to study, and then the courses are tailored to address their needs. Side by side that, we do a lot of community awareness so that business is able to absorb the women and girls once they do their training, and those that are of school-going age are able to be reintegrated in school. And we do a lot of community awareness to create an enabling environment for women and girls to strive and child early and forced marriages, because one of the key issues that is limiting development is the issue of child early marriages. The project contributes to achieving sustainable development goals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. and it also contributes to the achievement of the Agenda 2063 by eliminating poverty, increasing the capacity and skills gap in the community where we are working, ensuring that women and girls are healthy and they've got access to sexual and reproductive health, information, and technology. The training that the project has introduced is a double strategy. We have a practical side, and then we've got a theoretical side. The practical side is in partnership with the department, with the Institute of Training, Vocational Training. Okay. Sorry, so the innovation is around the delivery of these short courses that are flexible, that are designed to meet the women and girls' needs, that are offered at the times that are more, allows the women and girls to attend, because we believe that some of the challenges in terms of access is the timing of the delivery of the courses. We use a device called an Aptus, which is like a mobile library, a mobile school, the girls use and can follow the courses at their own pace to allow them to really engage with the content. We also use mobile phones for monitoring and evaluation, for communicating the project's messages on awareness raising, for example. We also do a lot of social media where the girls create WhatsApp groups where they can share information and also share whatever messages or ask questions to the facilitators. The courses, as I've said, are designed with engagement from the private sector to ensure that they are responsive to the market needs. The course also includes a life skills component to ensure that it's a holistic approach to addressing the challenges that the women and girls face. In terms of monitoring and evaluation, we've got a very robust monitoring and evaluation system that is electronically based, and we get a lot of engagement on it, whereby we also learn from other countries, since this project transcends borders. It's not only, as I said, in Mozambique, but we also learn from Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Tanzania. There's a lot of follow-up and ongoing training provided to the field staff and provided to the project staff, using technology and also ensuring that it's a continuous tracking of information and it's real time. Measuring impact, so far 1,235 women and girls have completed the short vocational training, and 150 are involved in community saving and credit schemes. 171 have begun their own businesses. 105 community members are working as networks for ending child early and forced marriages as volunteers. So they are our change agents in the awareness raising to change, to prevent child early forced marriage. We also have created 92 support networks as a result of the project. Some of the key lessons learned is when you integrate ICT and other learning models, you can increase access and reach the unreachable, giving more access to marginalized women and girls. ICT also not only strengthens staff, but it can also equip the learners with skills that they can also use to develop themselves. For example, like I said, they are now able, the women and girls, they use WhatsApp to communicate, to share information, and just to learn, to keep on learning. The design of the course and delivery is made in a way that increases access and ensures flexibility to meet the needs of female learners. And for that, I thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you, Muzikazi. I guess we've all enjoyed her presentation. And the focus, it's an innovation, but focusing on vulnerable and the disadvantaged girls and women. And just like the others, it's by use of mobile phones, but then they also take the approach of using the mobile school so that they are able to reach those girls and women that may not be able to go into the normal classroom setting. And they also take the approach of vocational. These are women and girls that may not be of school-going age, but then there is all the effort through ICT to ensure that they get the appropriate skills. And what I take from her is the girls are trained in the vocations of their own interest, which I think is very crucial for anybody who would want to take a skill. We are moving to the last presenter, and this is Dr. Chao Mbogo. She is head of computer science department at Kenya Methodist University, and she's the program lead and founder of Kamilimu. What is interesting about her is she has taken an approach of mentorship, and she has established a mentorship program for the students. This time not only girls, but both boys and girls, but these are students of ICT. And because of what she has done, she has also received a number of recognitions, 3 of them. There's the Google Anita Award of 2014, there is the Quartz Innovators Recognition of 2017, and the Zuri Award for Leadership in 2018. And that shows us the kind of innovation that she has come up with, and she will go ahead to tell us in terms of how it works and how it has impacted on the students of computer science.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is still alert. I'm the one standing between you and the end of the conference today. So my name is Dr. Chao, as you've heard, and I'm from Kenya. So a big shout out to all the Kenyans in the room and all the African representative and all of us who have made it till the end of the day. So today I've really been inspired to hear a lot of talk about mentorship. In the previous panel that has just ended, the moderator talked about how the curriculum and the training that we receive at universities and at school is not, we do that and then the students still can't get employment. And he asked a very important question of what is it that we need to do more in order to better prepare our students. In the morning we had about 21st century skills, which was very special to me because this is why the mentorship program that I'm leading started with that motivation. And it's a little over just a year old, so it's probably one of the youngest programs that we've had in the room, but I'd like to share the story behind that. So according to a survey that we conducted within my university, we found that at least 65% of university students in Kenya do not receive mentorship outside the classroom. And this comes in a period where, unfortunately, the Kenyan university system has come under a lot of criticisms from different stakeholders on the quality of university education and thus what kind of graduates are we producing. While there are very many different aspects that contribute towards quality education, from qualified staff to resources, people have actually asked, perhaps it is the lack of structured mentorship program that also contributes towards poor quality education that is currently really a buzz, and we are talking about it a lot in the media and also internationally. So in addition to this, we noticed that a lot of the computer science class, I'm a computer scientist myself, is you find that a class that has X number of students, at most 30% will be girls. I have taught programming classes where, in a class of 20 and there are only 2 girls. You find in postgraduate courses, which is where the number of women who are taking computer science postgraduate degree is actually affected. You can find a class of only 1 lady in a class of 10 to 15 students. And so what has happened is, as we go up the ladder, we find that there are fewer and fewer number of women who hold higher degrees like PhDs, and therefore the number of researchers and academics is equally low. And this has a ripple effect where we find that in academia, the female students don't have role models who they can then emulate. And according to my work, we find that the lack of role models is actually one of the biggest factors that contribute towards the low motivation among female students. And so this is why I founded the mentorship program called Kamilimu. Kamilimu comes from 2 Swahili words, elimu and kamili. Elimu is a Swahili word that means education, and kamili is a Swahili word that means whole, so whole education. And the target for this is computer science university students who are currently undertaking IT diplomas, IT degrees. And this is because, as a computer scientist, we find that apart from the complaints that we don't produce qualified graduates, what has happened in Kenya is there is an increase in number of institutions or programs that are only targeting computing skills. Therefore, they are complaining about the graduates that are produced. So the solution is that they are now training students separately from the universities, which means, as someone who works at a university, I had to think of how can we better prepare our students, and this was my contribution to that. And so in offering structured and impactful mentorship to students who are currently at university, what we do is we take what they learn in the classroom and complement that with a highly structured mentorship program in order to make them globally competitive. And we do that in 4 ways, the first of which, we take what they learn in ICT skills, and then we teach them how to use that to solve socioeconomic problems, or in other words, innovation. And we also train them on professional development, so it is not enough to be a computer scientist. You have to be able to communicate your science. You have to be able to present yourself as a professional, and those are some of the skills that are lacking in the university curriculum. We also involve them in the community, which means the local tech community, the international tech communities, and also we immerse them by giving back. We train them to give back to the community in terms of passing on their skills. And lastly, we also train the students on how to write award-winning scholarship applications and grants, which is one way that they can then use to promote their digital skills. And in so doing, we've come up with an innovative 6-month curriculum that targets computer science students. And we continually track their progress, and therefore we continually measure the impact as well. So far, in just over a year, we have worked with 104 students from 11 universities in Kenya, and the interest is really increasing as we go along. We are currently in the 3rd cohort of students who have just been a month in the program. And this program is 50-50% male and female. This is extremely deliberate because, as one of the famous computer scientists, Dr. Anita Borg, said, by the year 2050, she'd like to see a 50-50% representation of male and female in the computer science workforce, and we try to maintain that. But also, it has really emerged to be extremely important for the students to be able to work in a gender-balanced environment, because then it replicates the real world where they have to work in gender teams in order to work on projects. So we maintain a 50-50 representation of male and female students in the program. But today I will share with you the specific work that we do with the female students, because that's the highlight of the panel. So some of the methodologies that we implement is we immerse the female students in research workshops. So for example, last year, with an award from the Anita Borg Institute, we conducted a workshop that specifically targeted students who are interested in academic and research for the reason that I gave earlier, that we have few women who are conducting highly impactful research and therefore remaining in research and academia. We also train the students on how to write award-winning scholarship, an example of which is the Google Anita Borg Scholarship, which provides funding to female students, and I will share the results of that shortly. And we also immerse the students in tech events that are specifically focused on women in computing. An example is the Grace Hopper Conference, which normally hosts at least 15,000 women every year. And we also support the students to build their peer mentorship techniques, so giving back and passing it on, which we've heard from the other panelists as well. And in so doing, they strengthen other female students as well, who cannot be part of the program. The results, some of the results include, we have received direct requests from companies for interns from the program, and this is because they believe that by going through the mentorship program, the students are better prepared as professionals in the industry. We have also seen our students win international awards, and in fact, I'd like to give an example. One of our students is right here in the room. She won a competition last year, which is called Miss Geek Africa, which is an innovation competition. And just today, thank you. And just today, we have received an email that yet another of our mentees is one of the top 10 students to be selected for the Miss Geek Africa 2018, which happens in Rwanda every year. So we see, thank you. So we see that by students going through the training of writing award-winning scholarships and applications, it has really helped the girls in the program progress. And we've also seen students who have demonstrated a remarkable commitment to the peer mentorship program, where they really hold the hand and support other female students. And for the first time in the university of which I work, the very first female students to receive a full scholarship to attend the Grace Hopper Conference was as a result of the training that she received in the mentorship program. And these are examples of some of the direct impacts that we see in the girls that participate in our program. And in so doing, it has really encouraged other students who are then applying to be part of the program and will be able to share more results in future conferences and publications. Now, some of the main lessons that we've learned is, one, structured and progressive mentorship really upskills students towards global competitiveness. And the key word is a structure, because it is very important to provide students with something that they can be able to plan, not only plan their time, but be able to rely on a consistent basis. So the structure is what has worked for us. And also, a 50-50% program where there is gender balance has really provided a balanced environment where the students learn to interact and work with each other. And female role models, because a lot of the students who come to our program indicate that. And the fact that we receive students from at least 10 universities at any given time, one of the main reasons given is that they lack female role models in their schools who hold higher positions, especially in computer science. And lastly, mentorship should be based not only on digital skills, but in providing wholesome skills such as community involvement, professional development, working in teams, innovation, in order to foster global competitiveness. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Chow. She mentioned that one of the students was in the room, and I didn't see anybody asking for the students, but I heard you clapping. Can the students stand up so that we're able to clap for her as we look at her? There she is. Thank you. Yeah, that brings us to more or less the end of our session. And from what Dr. Chao presents, she talks about the power of mentorship, in other words, role modeling. And she also points or makes indication in relation to the curriculum, the education curriculum, and I guess this is in most of the African countries. What kind of students are we churning out? We've been talking since morning about the job market. Are we producing students that have the right skills for the job market? There are incidents where students are graduates from universities, but they can't make an application. They can't face an interview. What that tells us is that there is a lot that needs to be done for our students to match the job market. And I also pick one key issue in terms of being innovative. When we are innovative, it may not be helpful to me alone, but it is helpful to many more persons out there, they girls or boys. The example she's giving of the scholarships that the students are receiving are as a result of her innovation. And I think that's a challenge to many of us. As we conclude, I can see how alert everybody is. And I'm sure you are waiting for me to say we are closing. But I'm not saying that, just a few minutes. And I want us, as we end, instead of us asking questions, if there is anybody in the room who wants to make a contribution in terms of the innovations that have been presented, if you want to make a contribution, possibly in terms of areas that need improvement, or if you have something to share in relation to what has been said, this is the opportunity. The first one, can I see ladies first? We started with gentlemen and ladies. Now I'm looking for ladies and gentlemen. Yes. The first hands from the ladies. One. I want another second lady. Two at the back. And then the third gentleman, the fourth gentleman, fifth gentleman, and the last lady. 6 of them, and then we conclude.
Thank you, Madam Moderator, and special congratulations to the panel, especially the last speaker. But my concern is about the Malian presentation, the use of mobile phones in schools. I know it is something really very controversial because maybe because of time constraints, he didn't really expatiate on the impact and the results of the monitoring committee, the ethics committee that you talked about. But as our moderator just said that we should make concrete proposals, because I would have really loved you to tell us, to explain more, how effective is this ethics committee doing its work? How effective are you really making sure that these students are not going out of the norms of the project, because we know what social media is. And that maybe contributes to the fact that you see some schools, administrators have categorically refused the use of it because it is a bit delicate. So I don't know whether it's because of time constraints you didn't explain, but my suggestion, as our moderator said, that we should make suggestions, is that I hope the ethics committee is able to control the applications that are in the mobile phones that these students are using, and which is something too you cannot really guarantee. Thank you.
The next speakers, 1 minute, please.
Thank you very much. I would like to comment on what we call mismatch of skills, because generally the youths are ready to be trained. But then the problem is, what next after the training? It is against this background that I felt the panel should actually have shed light on how the projects they're handling have tried to address the problem of mismatch of skills. Because training without food on the table at the end of the day makes the whole exercise unattractive. I'm tempted to say this because during the presentations, unfortunately, you did not come up with the figures. You tell us, for instance, in my project, I got the following number of youths from vulnerable background. I trained this number, and of course this number managed to, succeed in getting a gainful employment. I think those figures are very, very important, and apart from the figures, in future probably, if time allows, you can also throw some light on what we call tracer studies. You can come, you tell us, you see, we got the following number of youth, this is how we trained them, and they managed to, get the following skills, hard skills, soft skills, and this is how they are doing at the end of the day. I think it is very important because the idea here is to replicate good practices in other countries. I'll be persuaded to visit Namibia to replicate what they're doing if, of course, I have tangible evidence that the project in Namibia is working for them.
I will speak in Arabic if it is possible. So, thank you very much. أو شكرا جزيلا لهذه النماذج الجميلة للنساء الأفريقيات. وهن يعني يشخصنا كيف يمكن تمكين المرأة الأفريقية عبر إكسابها المهارات الرقمية. أنا أريد أن أنوه أنه هنالك في العالم توجد هوة رقمية بين النساء والرجال لصالح الرجال، يعني النساء يعانين من الهوة الرقمية التي لصالح الرجال. لو ممكن هذه النماذج الجميلة من المرأة الأفريقية لو تكرمنا بإبداء بعض الأفكار كيف يمكن معالجة مسألة الهوة الرقمية، لأن نتكلم على أنه إحنا موجودين في العصر الرقمي، كيف يمكن لنا التغلب على الهوة الرقمية التي تعاني منها المرأة بشكل عام والمرأة الأفريقية بشكل خاص. شكرا جزيلا.
I hope somebody has gotten that comment and you'll summarize for us.
Merci. Je m'appelle Youssef, je suis du ministère de la formation professionnelle et de l'emploi Tunisie. Je dois tout d'abord féliciter tous les intervenants pour la qualité de leur exposé. Et ma question s'adresse au docteur Chao. On sait très bien qu'historiquement, l'école a fait l'objet d'un conflit entre l'État et l'entreprise en ce qui concerne la production des savoirs et des compétences. Je voudrais savoir, en ce qui concerne la recherche que vous avez menée, quel était le rôle, la place et la nature d'intervention de l'entreprise dans cette recherche. Merci.
My name is Topista Birungi from Ansefa. I would like to make a recommendation to fill a gap which I've felt in all their presentations. I've not heard, if it came out, I'm sorry, but I've not heard anyone talking about the role of the teachers in the process of mentoring these young girls and women in schools. May I make a recommendation that we pay attention to the role of the teachers and consider in turn their support, because they also need to be supported, because they are the immediate role models to these girls as they grow in school. And this is a gap we cannot take for granted.
Is there any other? The last one. Okay.
Thank you very much. I'm Anjuza Ahmada. I'm from the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, which is a regional organization, 19 member states. So I want to take this opportunity to thank all the presenters for the very important presentation that they have done. And I just want to highlight it that when it comes for the issue of youth, we all know that research has demonstrated that the young women are more affected than the young men. So I'm so happy to see all these presentations which are targeted the young girl and the young women. And in this connection, I would like to share here through this forum that COMESA, in addition to the various projects that we are doing on youth, we have actually a big project which is called 50 Million African Women Speak Platform. This is a digital project which is going to be implemented by COMESA, EAC, and ECOWAS under the leadership of ADB. So I hope that this 50 million that women in Africa we are targeting will be able to benefit from these various initiatives that have been presented here. And I want to build awareness for all the presenters here to be able to follow the project. I thank you very much.
Finally.
Merci madame pour le monitoring. Bonsoir à tous. Je suis IDBB, je suis le directeur de la formation au ministère des enseignements professionnels au Niger. Donc j'aimerais apporter une contribution ici d'une bonne pratique. Nous, on est sur un projet pour la formation des enseignants avec l'utilisation des technologies de l'information. Donc, nous avons un contenu que nous allons graver dans les smartphones et qu'on va distribuer aux jeunes enseignants, les contractuels, et ils vont prendre les cours en ligne. Maintenant, après avoir suivi les cours, ils vont faire un examen de certification. Ils sont au nombre de 21 000. Nous avons 19 000 pour l'enseignement primaire et 2 000 pour l'enseignement secondaire et la formation professionnelle. Et il est bon de leur donner des certificats, mais après la certification, ils seront intégrés à la fonction publique. Donc, on va leur donner une catégorie et ils seront recrutés à la fonction publique. Donc, il est bien beau de donner une formation aux jeunes, mais il faut les permettre aussi d'être employés, soit au niveau de l'État, soit au niveau des sociétés privées. Merci.
Okay, thank you so much. I take note of the contributions from the last two speakers in terms of the available opportunities that the different people need to take advantage of. Like I said, most of them were not questions. I didn't understand the Arabic one, but I hope it was also an observation and not a question, and I believe everybody who had translation has understood what he said. In the interest of time, we shall not go into that. The one in French, the gentleman was talking about an initiative that is going to be applied on the phones for teachers to use in the teaching, but they will also be subjected to an interview, and once they pass, they will be hired by the government. That was from Niger in terms of training. That's what he said. Yeah, I'm coming there. So I want us to come to the conclusion of this. And as we conclude, I would want the panelists, I think there were about 2 questions, and I would give the first opportunity to Dr. Chow to respond to what her question was. Hope you heard it. You had Topista, but there was somebody else from here who was talking in terms of what next after the training, the mismatch between skills. I think that can be answered by any of the participants, and the role of teachers. Yeah.
So I will take Topista's question, who asked that we didn't mention about the role of teachers. So for me, that was purely because of time. But I'd like to say that one of the questions that I receive is who are actually the mentors in the program. So the mentors are actually industry stakeholders. So far, I have worked with at least 33 individual professionals and 7 companies who contribute their time to the mentorship. And some of those 33 professionals are actually teachers. So I didn't get a chance to mention that, but yes, we're involved with professionals who also mentor their students.
Yeah, maybe somebody else to respond to the question in terms of after the training, what next?
Thank you for the very interesting question. In terms of the teachers in our instance, the teachers are the community facilitators, and they come from the same communities where the women and girls are from. So they do the accompanied follow-up within those communities. So they're always present with the women and girls. And in terms of what happens after the training, in some of the instances, the girls and women are absorbed by the private sector or they start their own businesses. But as we know, the economy in most of our countries is very compromised. So there is still more supply than demand in terms of, because those women and girls are from the low skill space.
Moi, je vais répondre en français, c'est possible? OK. Donc, la question sur le...
You spoke very good English.
Okay, the question related to the ethics committee. Just after the baseline survey, we provided around 217 mobile phones in some schools. And we said, okay, students, use them inside the project. By the end of the academic year, the lesson was that they were doing everything but learning. Video, plays, and everything. And we organized a meeting with our project key actors. I mean, influence politicians, school administrators, community members, teachers, and everyone. We said we are implementing a mobile phone initiative. What do you think about it? Teachers and school authorities said, okay, now is the opportunity to tell you that we don't want you to implement any mobile phone in our schools. Parents said, okay, we don't want you to give mobile phone to our adolescents. And it was a general opposition. That's why we decided to put an ethics committee in place. And the guarantee was, they said, the only condition to work with mobile phone is to testify that you will prevent our adolescents from playing or doing pornography or something like this. So we developed research, and the 2 solutions we found were, first one, to put in place an ethics committee to monitor, to follow up the implementation of the platform. And the second one was to put a code on all the phone settings from the beginning, except SMS and phone call, they cannot use it anymore. No internet, nothing. And they said, okay, this works. And the different phones have to be kept by school authorities. They are only used when adolescents are having a meeting, when they are using them to either to receive a message or to reply a message. So it's strictly used as a pedagogic mean. And the ethics committee helped us to, we shared a series of messages on SRH, on gender equity, on gender-based violence. They validated those messages and said, now messages are good. You may share them on the platform with adolescents.
Okay.
That's how we are working.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you. I would like to respond or to contribute to the question of women all over the world affected by digital divide. As we know, women are the majority, or they comprise the majority of population in the world. So these are our mothers, our wives, our partners, our sisters. So what we can do is to support them, give them time to engage in learning activities. So learning is not limited to classrooms. We have online learning. We have open and distance learning. So learning can take place anywhere. So what we need to do is to support them. Let's encourage them to take part in learning activities so that they can learn or they can gain the knowledge and skills that they need in order to function and be on par with men. I think that's good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Everybody was very alert when we started. As we come to the end, people have started making some noise, which is a gesture that we need to end. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for paying attention up to this hour. And I just want us to appreciate that this session was set up bearing in mind the gap between the boys and girls, men and women, in terms of digital skills. There is an issue there that needs to be addressed, and that's the reason why we listened to a number of innovations that have come up and are trying to address that challenge. As I end, my name is Amatha Muhwezi. I work with the Forum for African Women Educationalists in Nairobi as the head of programs. Join me to clap for the panelists for the good job. Well done. And to the panelists, thank you so much. You also clap for me. I think I've done a good job. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much. It's been a pretty long day, and we thank you for staying with us and being engaging and being part of the discussion since morning. We are finishing 15 minutes later than we planned, and we are very grateful that we were able to keep time. Thank you so much to all the panelists. We've spent the major part of today looking at what exists in terms of strategies and structures and what opportunities exist for collaboration. And we've then had time to discuss where we are going to, what opportunities exist for us in terms of moving forward. What are the lessons we can learn from people who have started initiatives along these lines? We shall continue this discussion tomorrow morning at 9. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for participating in this forum. We have coffee break outside after this, and a quick cocktail at 7, sorry. So we have cocktail at 7. Please, it's an opportunity for further networking and further discussion. So please be part of it. Thank you.